That must be the Lord that governs Utopia in all worthy champions. The hero's archetype. The king. I see. At long last, fantasy has become a force that frees people from anxiety. A harbinger of change for a deadlocked reality.
The people have chosen my son. With that, my tremendous gamble hath borne fruit. Thus it is that my duty here draws to a close.
And now, the novel you wrote with such passion will finally begin a new chapter.
This voice... is that... could it be? But how?
While flames swept through the sanctum, I cast a final spell to abandon my body and survive in soul. I became an immaterial being among the fairies. I had to, so I might provide guidance to the child on his most perilous path.
The power of the archetypes. Was that your doing?
No. All I did was awaken them to it. My voice carried the words they needed to hear. That power is no great and rare treasure. It is something that might be grasped by anyone with the will to change the world. And anyone has the power to change the world. Those children proved as much. Now, that boy has grasped the courage of a warrior. All dragons who still roamed the continent have fallen by his hand. For what greater embodiment of the impossible is there than a dragon? And he now possesses the power and will to quell those forces.
I see. Then he is not so weak a child that I must hold his hand. I am truly sorry. I lost all the power I once knew. I saw the sanctum burn, and you. I lost you. Once they took our child from me, all my remaining hope went with him. And so I placed my faith in the royal magic. I believed that if this world would choose him, there would still be hope.
This shall do. That boy's fight, and ours, is finally over. The people no longer need some mystic relic or some lofty magics to soothe their fears. They have found the strength to overcome it within. Provided they can turn their anxiety into strength and never stop walking toward the unknown, reality will ever change. Their world shall be one full of possibility.
This isn't about the throne anymore. It marks the beginning of a new era, led by those who are truly worthy of the people's trust. Almost the appointed time now. The day is dawning on a new king's reign, and with it, my true passing. However, if I may truly end my life with pride in my boy, and my love at my side, I've no regrets.
It's been a long road to this moment, hasn't it?
It has indeed. But for our son, a new journey now begins. Heed me, all people of the kingdom. Dawn breaks, and the appointed hour hath come.
He speaks. With the announcement of our new king, everything finally ends.
I now settle the long-contested succession to the throne. They who hath gathered the most faith from their subjects amassed, they who have overcome this fierce contest, the throne's new sovereign, I now reveal. Behold, your new king of your kingdom united.
He certainly did, love. He really did. Oh, I still can't believe it. That boy pulled it off. His Majesty, the new king.
I won't accept it! The new king is Count Louis.
You can't just crown his son after all. That's cheating, that is. Rise up, people! Riot!
Disorderly conduct will not be permitted.
Settle down. The tournament is over. Our new king has been decided, and the royal capital falls under His Majesty's rule. Threaten it, and you shall face the wrath of the crown theocracy's warrior monks.
Bloody fantastic. They really did it.
Quietude descended once again upon the royal capital, and the day of the new king's coronation arrived.
Boy, coronation really crept up on us. There's a lot of people in the crowd.
Don't tell me you're nervous. After everything we survived already, stage fright should be nothing for you.
All the same, my heart's pounding out of my chest.
Is it? Nothing you're not used to then. It's just like with the archetypes. Just keep your head high.
It'll be fine. We'll keep the crowd warmed up for you.
Your newfound dignity suits you well, Your Highness. Ah, but I suppose you have outgrown that title. Your Majesty. Yes, that too suits you well.
By the way, saw some of them Senate fat cats hovering about, acting like they've been supporting us from the start, of course. Always on the winning side, eh?
Better than the alternative, no? Especially since we've got some Luis diehards among the people.
I hear that many are concerned about his proficiency with statecraft. To be honest, I'm not so sure myself.
Juna will stand as moderator at the podium. His Majesty will only be asked for a few brief answers. First, the people would know how you aim to lead them. How will you respond to that, Your Majesty?
We have the power to change the world. All of us. I know I'm inexperienced, but I'll strive to do my utmost. With all of you at my side.
That's fine. The people have about had it with pompous monologues. Better to say what you mean with determination.
Still, there are a lot of people in the crowd who have never supported you. How are you going to respond to them?
I know mutual understanding will come slowly. I'll just have to keep doing everything I can for them.
You went from a nobody to the top seat in the nation. No need to puff up and bluster anymore, what? You'll do fine.
A ruler must only stand tall. The rest is not done alone. We are with you.
Indeed. And we're no strangers to more practical work. Whatever our tasks, I'm sure we can handle them.
Well, it is time to make your first appearance as our king. Let us brace ourselves.
Good luck!
Thanks for always having my back.
Well, let's go. To His Majesty, the new king!
We'll write a warm welcome, please! His Majesty the new king! Your Majesty, you're so young!
Please. My king, your subjects would hear how you intend to lead them.
Relax, okay? Take it easy and use your own words.
As a ruler, I've much to learn. I cannot say what I'll accomplish. And yet, I believe the world can change by our hand. And to that end, I will face any odds.
Now, Your Majesty, a few more words. Naturally, some under your rule now supported other people in the race. How do you respond to their voices?
There will be times I let you down. I know that. Only results can prove my intent. But still, even should you oppose your king, you can always believe in your own future. I will make sure of it!
A nation where dreams and fantasies are always in reach. Will surely be a challenge.
We'll make it happen.
There you go. If you can pull that off, you'll be the finest king we've known. Well then, this is it! Your attention, please!
No lord remains for you to kneel before. Please take the crown with your own hands, my king.
Ah, long have I awaited the arrival of this day. This journey has reached its end. He came to know the goodness of a hero's heart, and became the king his people had always hoped for. But as this journey ends, so another begins. I'd like you to watch over him on his path for a little longer yet. 1 year has passed since the arrival of the new king.
Hey, heard the news? They're finally reopening that mage academy that got closed down.
You don't say. The famous one deep in the Montario Mountains. Really? I'm impressed. It only took them a year.
They've even paved a proper mountain road. And get this, their headmistress is none other than Lady Juna.
What? The songstress?
Well, she is one of the king's 6 partisans. If she managed to help save the world from Luis, I expect she knows a thing or two about magic. Sounds like they plan to fully open the magic researcher's findings to the people, too. Quite a turn from when the late Sanctifex banned it.
Makes sense to me. After the clash between His Majesty and Luis last year, everyone knows you don't really need an igniter to use magic.
And that's just today's news. It's surprise after surprise, ever since us church folk got the boot from the palace. Even the Royal Knights. Their leadership was bound to the church more than anything, and now he's out on his ear too. And replaced by Sir Jaime Noctul, no less. You believe that? The Royal Knights, led by a Ujif, of all things. Though he's one of the 6 partisans himself. When he speaks, everyone listens. No one's about to complain.
Even Parliament now invites citizen representatives to hearings. Strange to think we'd been deaf to the voice of the people until now. It's unbelievable, compared to the days of the autocrats. How swiftly the times change, eh?
Credit where it's due. I think it's thanks to His young Majesty. Remember last year's coronation? Unprecedented, that. Saw heroes of all different tribes celebrating the king's victory. Celebrating among the common folk, even. They tell me some of the younger aristocrats have taken to calling it the Great Reconciliation. It really is a tragedy, what happened to his father, the king. But considering how his sons turned out, I hope he's at peace.
Indeed. Yet the real test is still to come. The first year has seen a lot of good, but we've still got our share of problems.
Speaking of His Majesty, I've also heard some folks saying they've seen a boy wandering around these parts who looks just like him. You don't suppose?
Ah, can't be. Without his escorts? Besides, what business would a king have in this place?
Suppose you're right.
Mountains upon mountains of appeals from the people. How many days will this take to sort?
After all the trouble you took to flee politics. And somehow you're now the preeminent ladyship of your house. Such is fate.
Despite everything, this year has passed in surprising peace, hasn't it? Honestly, with the royal scepter disappearing like that, I feared more dissent.
Perhaps after Luis, they swore they could never let that happen again. Either way, more and more are dealing with conflicts calmly and openly. Promising.
It promises that I'll have an eternally cluttered desk.
Here, Your Majesty. I've brought in the next load. And there we go. Not half bad, right? Hey! Isn't the king supposed to be here?
When did he? I've said countless times not to leave unannounced.
Oh, all this decoration doesn't suit me. How'd Luis and Forden put up with all this damn finery? Your Majesty? Are you here? Juna's back from her inspection.
Apologies, Troll. I'll look for him now.
Wait! I'm coming with you! Oh, good grief. Some things never change. Not that they should.
I'd say life has changed plenty for us. Yet somehow our captain's same as he ever was.
And then, well, I might have got a bit too fresh with them stuck-up Sanctists. But those bloody church folk been looking down on us for years, you know? Still, it was other Sanctists what stepped in to keep things peaceable too. I reckon they're not all bad. Guess me cogs turning. They lost both their Santifex and the Saint Lady last year. Got their own struggles, I expect. Not like it excuses all of them or makes me want to go up and shake a Sanctor's hand, but you really put some perspective on it.
I believe you'll come to understand them.
You know what, lad? You're all right. You ever need some good, honest work? I'll get you squared, eh?
I should have known you'd be wandering around without your escorts again. How is it, being able to hear the city's honest thoughts? If you told them you're the king, it'd knock them sideways. Sorry you ended up coming all this way. Maria's actually out on an errand right now.
I see. That's too bad.
Are you that disappointed? She's a lucky one for such company. Either way, let's keep your head down. You know what happens when you're too obvious about this. Sooner or later, the Lady Captain of the Royal Guard...
Oh, there you are! I knew we'd find you here, for crying out loud!
Phew. So you were here.
Speak of the devil.
Let us return, Your Majesty. And I thought I had informed you that Juno would be back from her expedition today.
I suppose I have no choice.
What is it? You have unfinished business. 'Tis settled. I shall come with you on every excursion.
Not dressed like that, you won't. You know how we like snooping around, inconspicuously.
Point taken.
He'll be fine. His Majesty's not about to fall prey to some alleyway scoundrel, surely. Right, Your Majesty. If you see Maria about, do slow down for a chat. She'll be shattered if she finds out she just missed you.
Fine. Now, Your Majesty, once your business here is finished, please make sure you return to the palace with all swiftness.
All right.
Let's go!
Oh, all right. This reminds me of the first time Maria went missing. Seems so long ago, now. She might be praying in the Grand Cathedral just like back then. Before heading to the cathedral, why not go talk to everyone else first? They're all in the royal capital, ready to prepare for the new year, so let's go find them.
You're not serious.
How perfect. I still get to write it.
All right then. All right then.
Wait a minute.
Come now.
When you finish your business outside the palace, please promise you'll return to resume your duties, Your Majesty. If you take this as my pressuring you not to venture out, that's not it at all. Only that as Captain of the Royal Guard, I must know your whereabouts at all times. Relax. You don't need to be so serious, Hulkenberg. Lighten up, maybe. You mean to say I'm too fussy? Well, it is only proper for the Captain of the Royal Guard. To be over-familiar would set a poor example. Imagine the scandalized faces of the rank-and-file guard.
Of course.
That said, not a day goes by that I don't reflect on our travels now, only a year past. I owe regaining my pride as a knight to that journey. I was but a wanderer searching in vain for the prince, and it was through you that I learned he yet lived. And in the end, it was your ascent to the throne I supported.
And so?
I never tire of the faces the younger guards make when I tell them of the time you acted as a witness to my duel. Ah, you mean your duel with Rodan? Yes, thanks to you. I was able to face him with eyes forward and put my past behind me. I'm pleased to say the knights of today are nothing like what they were under Rodan's command. Soldiers take up their sword not for those in power, but for the people. And as champion of the people yourself, we will do all in our power to protect you, our king.
Well,
you do not make it easy by sneaking out of the palace as you do. Though I suspect the soldiers are getting used to your chaotic tendencies. They know they protect not just a king, but a ruler who stands beside his people and hears their voices in clarion truth.
this I vow.
I will protect you with my life, as I have always endeavored to do, Your Majesty. Only let me stay by your side to do so.
What do you want to do?
There's still other people we can talk to, but did you want to go to see Maria now? Let's see who else there is.
All right then.
Hey!
Pleasure to see you.
Why, hello, Your Majesty. It's only been a year since your coronation, but I see you've become quite apt at sneaking away from your palatal duties. Under constant fire from knaves of all trades, con artists, and critics alike, your opening act has been rather tumultuous, no? Oh, has it? I has noticed. How kingly an answer. Never missing an opportunity to display how capable you are. Commendable. Besides, most of the agitators are the kind of scum that stirs the pot in hopes that they might benefit from the country's turmoil. Nothing I couldn't handle, of course. All in a day's work for the Royal Adjudicant to the Citizens' Council. What an ally I've made, I should hope.
Hey.
I wonder if my mother would be the slightest bit proud to see who I've become. That I'm doing my damnedest to use my talents for good, as I always should have. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yes.
I hope so. I was such a problem child. I'd like to make this a country where honest folk like my mother can be happy.
Now that you mention it.
That reminds me. Do you remember Dachuram? My hometown's landowner? He told me to send you his regards. He's since confessed his crimes and is awaiting trial. You were the one who awakened his conscience. It makes sense, doesn't it? You've proven your ideals to be true. That's why the country is doing so well. There's nothing more to it.
Thank you.
I'm hardly qualified to speak of pride, but if this country has one, it's you. And I am proud to be among its people. Perhaps under your rule, the day will come that even we Nydia can walk freely in our true forms. Ah, you're curious what I look like in my true form. I'd be happy to oblige, but let's save that for another time, shall we?
Yo.
Oi, out inspecting again. Seems the right pain to me. I appreciate you going to all that effort. Making your rounds, Basilio?
Hey.
Yeah, Captain of the Trade. Yeah, Captain of the Tradarian Brigade, reporting in. And I'm pleased to report there's nothing to report, Majesty. I'm taking a break. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Still not used to calling myself a captain, besides. We even taken in some survivors from Luis's troops, you know. But don't you worry. I've got two eyes on them even when I ain't looking.
What?
Way I see it. They weren't the ones trying to make the world worse. Just gotta show them how power is supposed to be used, yeah? We owe it to you that there's less discrimination in the city these days. Fewer and fewer turn into a life of crime to make means end. If Del could see Grand Trad today, his eyes would bug out. Not just Del. A lot of the guys who didn't make it.
That's...
I take it you mean Vinka.
Yeah.
You remember him? Those damned experiments trapped him in a vengeance he couldn't see past. But I feel like even he might smile seeing what I'm up to now. We built this piece with a lot of blood and tears. So I say those of us who made it this far owe it to all of them what didn't do to protect it. Maybe I've got nothing to report today, but it's not like bad people just stop being bad because you're king now.
Thank you.
You've been through a lot though. But thanks for not giving up on us. Or the world for that matter. You spot any trouble that I didn't spot at first? You just point them to me. I'll solve it quick like.
Oh,
Well, well, I see our king is out on some personal business, eh? I believe Hulkenberg was searching for you, but I suppose it's none of my business who comes or goes. I'm on break myself. Only try not to frustrate your royal guards over much, huh? They all take their duties quite seriously, much like their captain. Who am I kidding? A knight who smiles is surely a myth. That's become clear to me since becoming titled. What could be more bizarre? A Jujif outcast, once a wanted criminal with a bounty on his head, made knight commander? There was, of course, some opposition at first, but the more heart-to-heart talks I've had, the more accepting they've become, albeit gradually. They needn't look further than the outcast who became their king.
True.
Indeed. You face no shortage of persecution, and look at you now. Grand titles and posts across the nation are no different, spread across all the tribes. I've realized over the past year just how much a nation is defined by its people. No matter how great a king he alone does not a country make.
However,
yet he stands for those very people, as symbol and representative. That the king and those around him are of mixed tribes has already caused a great shift in sentiment, even for those in the rural villages.
Now that you mention it.
And just how is Tadari these days?
Yes.
He seems busy as he can handle, now that they've resumed trade with other villages. Your coronation inspired that village to greater heights. It proved that barriers can be broken, that even they could take the first step. New winds are blowing in every corner of this country. I'll have to make another trip back home with my son to see the changes for myself soon enough. And someday, I hope distant generations will grow up only knowing conflict born of tribal differences from history books.
We shall.
We've a ways to go before that day comes, but until it does, let us forge that path toward it, Your Majesty.
All right then.
Ah, brilliant.
Thanks.
All right then.
Yeah?
Oh, what brings His Royal Majesty here? Come to feel the wind on your face too, have you?
Aha!
I know how it is. I've the fancy old title Chief Engineer of the Kingdom Infrastructure Development Bureau, and can research as I please now. But something's missing. So I threw off that stuffy old uniform and came to gaze upon the runner, in the way that I do.
About that.
I know how you... I feel like I know what you mean when you say something's missing.
Oh.
I knew you'd agree. I think my bones are aching to feel the wind. I rather miss the days of dashing hither and thither in the runner. Not that I'm ungrateful for the gracious title you've given to the man who used to sulk about modifying gauntlet runners. You haven't seen anything yet. One day, I'll invent a teleportation device that will deliver fresh fish straight from Oceania to your palatal plates. It would change the world, wouldn't you say? Just a bit, stuck at the beginning on the development.
Indeed.
And it's times like this that I need stimulation on the mind. You have anything that might do the trick?
That's...
Are you going to send me on another relic hunt? Don't pretend you didn't enjoy it. Every time you'd pop back in with one, I remember how I could hardly contain my excitement. I do so miss traveling like that. Even if the relics themselves were better off left untouched, they've become the guiding principles of my research, you know.
That's...
Convenience is important, but one must consider safety and the effects it might have on the world. An engineer who dumps a burden on future generations is no engineer at all.
However...
Still, it's no small feat to design with a perfect balance of safe and revolutionary. Even I struggle with it. I'm a bally genius. Ah, I knew it. What I need is stimulation, Your Majesty. You know, like the soul-shaking speed and quiver of a drive engine. You let me know if you ever want to go out for a spin, won't you? Our dear girl, sparkling clean. Always ready for takeoff.
All right then. Let's head there right away.
Let me check back real quick.
Thanks.
I may have skipped Maria's without knowing it.
You're not serious.
Eh?
All right then. All right then.
Okay, no, I didn't.
Let's go. Yeah?
There she is.
My king.
Oh, there you are, Jackson. Heard you were in town, so I decided to see if we might cross paths. I have so much to tell you about my inspection, so I'm afraid you'll need to clear your diary from me soon.
In that case.
Did you bring back any souvenirs?
Gosh.
Let's just focus on the report. Don't worry, I'll give you just the gist. Firstly,
Well?
the Mage Academy's reconstruction is going swimmingly. Repairs are in full swing and we're already processing admissions. I must say, I'm still surprised you appointed me of all people to be the Academy's headmistress. I was rather looking forward to going back on tour as a songstress. Oh, and I shall introduce you to my furry little friend. I scooped him up in the Academy of all places. During the reconstruction, they stumbled upon the little guy in some kind of observatory supposedly used by a king long ago. Considering the igniter around his neck, I'm sure he was taken care of. I mean, there's no way a cat could survive alone in that cold, could he? I wonder who that could be.
So...
Regardless, our mysterious kitty is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Academy. All that knowledge was lost when it fell, so we're starting from scratch. It may even be hiding secrets as big as the Dragon Temple or the Sanctum. Oh, and I'm keeping the cat. He's like fate, you know?
Speaking of which...
And speaking of fate, on my way back, I met with Murtis.
Now we're talking.
She's been keeping well, I hope?
Yeah.
More than well. Her throat has been fine, and she's a fairly prominent singer about town now. We both just keep soaring to new heights. Her and music and me coming face to face with magic again.
Hey! Hey!
Surely you remember music was the first magic born in this world, yes? When the heart expresses itself through music, it moves the hearts of others. And when they make hearts swell, why, there's no end to the magic. So you just watch. With music and magic at my side, I'm going to change the world. All will have equal opportunity to hone their talents at the Mage Academy. Our doors are open to all. That's what my sister would have wanted, and if it makes the world a better place, why isn't that just grand?
Magic.
Rella taught me that magic is more than a tool. It's in all of us, deep in our hearts.
Dear me!
All right then.
Ain't this a pickle?
The king himself out browsing the shops. Perhaps I need to draft The king himself out browsing the shops. Perhaps I need to draft up a royal certificate of appointment. Tell the world we supply goods to the royal family. That's a little embarrassing. Why stop there? You can get me a signed handprint to display on the walls. No, just my little joke. We're doing quite well even without royal endorsement. The igniter I made at the children's request, the one that lights up with rainbow colors, is selling startlingly well. The store is packed with families and children.
Say.
I now hold a position where I could control the distribution of matter of goods throughout the kingdom as the head of the Igniter Consortium. I can't help but think if I had been in this position sooner, then the church's violence, the tragedy of the village could have been prevented.
Brigitte.
What matters is how we move forward though, right?
Yes.
Indeed. I can dwell on the past all I wish, but it won't change it. The future, on the other hand, I took up this post after I was nominated by my colleagues. In other words, I suppose that means people have expectations of me and that I too am spoke in the wheel of change. Our new king has changed this country for the better. However, as a former arms dealer, it would be naive to think all weapons can ever disappear from this world.
Yet.
It's all the more reason I hope that reasons for people to wield them continue to decline. To that end, I'll continue doing all that I can possibly do with all that I am, just as you do.
Speaking of...
Ah yes, do you remember my dog? I'm the ones who took her. Naturally, I considered ending their lives. But there she was, sitting beside them. Evidently, they could not bring themselves to harm such a sweet creature, so they decided to keep her instead. I had no choice but to spare their lives. I couldn't subject a gentle dog to the atrocities I commit in her name. You should come play with her sometime. I'm sure she remembers you. How sweet. There's Yufa.
Greetings.
Working hard as ever, Jackson. Were you going about town and listening to what the people have to say? Myself, I just come from the Crown Court where I've been consulting with the people about their grievances and dispute as Chief Magistrate.
Well,
Our court is taking on common grievances.
Yes, of course.
In the past, we were busy with big cases of violence and theft, but those have decreased remarkably.
In truth.
As you're undoubtedly aware, in the past, many citizens were sentenced to hang without such a trial, without so much as a trial.
Alas.
I'm pleased to report things are different. Anyone, regardless of race or status, can tell their side of the story in court and be judged equally and fairly. It just goes to show anything is possible, even for a priestess to become a chief magistrate. My brother is making great strides as village chief. He rather hated the role before, but he's truly found his calling, I think.
The reason is...
As I said, no one knows what the future holds. It's all the more reason I try to guide people to good choices. I want to live in society that practices kindness, where those who suffer need to not turn to crime, and so I practice what I preach.
Now that you mention it...
The other day, I went to visit Ovi's church to inquire with those who are sick there about how the kingdom can be more accessible to them. The people at the church are okay with you being there?
Very well.
Yes. I had productive conversations with Ovi and the rest. Many who were sick have gotten better and want to ease into working again. Hearing them made me reflect on all the people who still need our help. Until now, the only hope those people had was God.
I do believe...
I want to fight for them to have options under laws and systems that they can rely on in addition to power. A country where all tribes with all their values can join in hands in harmony. That's what we need.
Because...
You aim to achieve that too, yes, Your Majesty? I hope you'll allow me to keep walking alongside you in this.
Wonderful.
all right then.
Oh, my. Lovely, that.
All right then.
That's something.
What an unexpected coincidence, Your Majesty. No guards with you today. Don't worry, I'm no tattletale. I myself just left a meeting going over how the provincial governments are doing. We convened for the new year.
So,
how are things in Martira? Oh, it's as lively as it used to be, and we owe it all to you, Your Majesty. That dodgy mess you cleaned up for us feels like ancient history now. And I'm pleased to report, as head of the Provisional Lords... I'm pleased to report, as head of the Provincial Lords, it's nothing but good news reaching my ears. Better relations between towns has unemployment up and overall welfare too. Each town has specialties and wisdom to offer. And when we combine our heads, there's no problem we can't solve. I just feel so blessed to be part of it. I know I made some blunders when I first stepped into the governor's role, but I'm happy to share my failings so others don't repeat my mistakes. That really brings me back.
Got to say,
I know I was trying to do too much on my own back then, and I got a bit overzealous. Of course, some lords are like I once was. They would rather manage things at their sole discretion than leave things to the people. And yes, taking every matter to public opinion can be laborious. With what? All the proceedings and disputes?
then again,
Still, changing our own lives with our own hands makes the process worth the trouble.
brilliant.
And choosing a king of our own will was all the inspiration we needed for change.
Lovely, that.
All right then.
Amazing.
Hi there.
Oh, well, if it isn't the big man himself. Good timing, mate. I just got back into town myself. Long time no see, Katharina.
Oh, right.
Ain't it been? I've been out traveling since I took on the reins of the Seeker's Recon. Hard to believe it's been half a year. And crazy doesn't even begin to describe what's beyond the sea. The sights, the magic. Everything's so fantastic, I'm already itching to get back out there. Well, not especially keen on dodging the bloody cannonballs when my ship gets too close. Lots of tension out there, but what country isn't a little tense? Everything from the customs to the way they think is so different, my head spins. Maybe all the tribal bickering seems right dull if I can speak my mind. But if this country's changing for the better, I'm glad I turned over the throne to you.
Hold on.
You turned it over to me, did you? Yeah, I knew you'd be right by the parapet, so I bowed out early to give you a fighting chance. Just kidding. All my cohort found jobs, and some of them even have picked up new skills from being out at sea so long.
See you soon, I hope.
But don't worry. But don't you worry your kingly head. I'll have it all whipped up in a report for you. Do something proper kingish with it, yeah?
Stay there.
Ah, sulking about the city again, are we? Which is to say, Hulkenberg is on the hunt. The classic game of cat and mouse, though who is which I dare not say. Been a year since you ascended the throne, but it's like you've hardly changed.
I mean...
Forgive me, I'll try to act more like a pretentious git from now on.
No.
That's rich. All that royal blood in you is positively wasted, my friend. What are we to do with you? Not that I can talk. I actually came out for a bit of a breather myself.
Even so.
You know, I see now that even those at the top have their struggles a little too clearly. A general's duties feel overwhelming at times. There are lives hanging in the balance. I recognize the weight of every decision I make, and I do find satisfaction in protecting those lives.
Hey.
Remember our first meeting back at the recruitment center? I, a fallen noble with nothing to my name, and you, a struggling Elder traveler. Back then, my only goal was getting ahead. My people were little more than an afterthought. If I hadn't met you, I'd never realized the truth about my fortune, my father's intentions, and I clearly couldn't have saved the Hallians.
Thank you.
I owe seeing the joy in their faces to you. I think I said it before, but thank you again. Thank you.
That's...
You need to give yourself some credit, Stroll.
No.
I would still owe any credit I could take to you for showing me the way. They live stable, peaceful lives thanks to you.
Hey.
You have a whole country on your shoulders now. The road ahead will be full of challenges we can't possibly foresee. But show me the way and I'll blaze the trail. Now and always, it's my role as a warrior. To be the vanguard.
That's why.
Our titles may have changed, but I like to think our friendship is as steadfast as ever. Don't hesitate to rely on me now and always.
Stay there.
So?
I think we've heard all we can from people. We'd head to where Maria is. Let's go see her.
That reminds me.
Being here sure brings back memories. Remember how we came here looking for Maria before the Tournament of the Throne? She was crying back then, though.
But
things are different now, though. You can say that again. This country's turned around since then. No doubt about it. I'm sure there will always be differences of opinion, but your ideals are really coming to fruition now. I can feel it. That reminds me, what's up with the book you're carrying around now? Is that the one you've been working on yourself?
Oh.
I'm excited to see what kind of fantasy you can conjure up. But maybe that's not even the word for it. After all, if you're the one putting it in ink, that means you're going to make it a reality someday. Now then, Your Majesty, shall we get going?
Oh, hello there. Oh, right. I suppose now I should call you Your Majesty. You know, I was just telling Papa, even through all that mess, everyone's really been working hard.
am I keeping my promise properly from back then?
Yes, you beat the villain, and now the city's full of smiles. And I'm sure Papa's smiling down on you too.
That's good. Hearing that from you really lifts my heart.
Don't worry. I'll try to do my part with what I've got. I want to help everyone understand that the world could be a better place if we can join hands with one another. Miss Fabian's fed so many hungry people since things changed. Some of those people even said they found their place there. I think I did too. If we can all change together for the better like that, we'll be closer to Your Majesty's and Papa's dream. And I want to help with something too. I want everyone across the land to be able to smile.
Yes, I expect great things, my trusty advisor.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Majesty. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
We should be the ones thanking her. Feels like I can see the entire country's future in her smile.
Everyone!
Long time no see. How have you been?
As we find ourselves afield, I thought I might visit Alsace myself.
Hold on a tick. Those people there? Surely not.
Naturally, we're drawing attention. We didn't all have to go at once.
Needn't fuss, old thing. It's been too long since we were all together again anyway.
Lady Tuna, did you really come all this way in a runner? Could have asked His Majesty to pop over and bring you back with a teleport or two.
The unmitigated nerve.
Oh, it's fine. I wanted to take in our country as it is. It's definitely a little rougher outside the capital's walls. There's still traces of melancholia around, and the odd human roaming about.
We're sending soldiers out for every incident we can. but it's not easy to hear the voice of the people from more distant regions.
I guess it's obvious. But just because you're king now doesn't make you suddenly all-seeing.
A lesson I learned last year. In the end, I was blind to a great deal of this world. Never would have learned if I hadn't pushed out the door and seen it with my own eyes.
A year ago, I would have just said we could fly over ourselves. I mean, let's be real. The capital isn't going to fall apart if we just sneak over for a little tour, is it?
Of course not. We specifically put precautions in place to keep things running.
Yet it has only been 1 year. We cannot be too complacent too soon, lest the dissidents seize on the opportunity.
Oh, there he is! Over there! See? I told you, that's His Majesty, innit?
Might have been a bit too obvious.
Oi there, Your Majesty!
You dare hoy the king, you swine?
Steady on, Hulkenberg, calm. You needn't draw steel on the poor fellow. We're the ones who indulged in this little day trip.
Your Majesty, thanks for all you do, really. Have to say, my life's a lot easier now.
There's more work to do every day, but we're in this together. We believe in you.
Everyone's so supportive. Kind of brings back memories from last year.
Rather. It's the sort of thing to get a chap all misty-eyed over the past. What a journey it was.
We really did just leg it up and down the country slaying dragons, eh? Can't believe we actually survived it.
They were dangerous times, but exciting ones too.
When we fought to appease the dragon god, I had no idea we would have to face another 4 dragons.
Nor I. Never thought the day would come when I'd be hailed as a dragon slayer. Huh. Life is full of surprises.
Right.
It was a hard road, but we did have fun together, didn't we?
Looks like we're drawing a crowd. Time to get back to work.
Indeed. A veritable mountain of tasks awaits us, and I will see it crested.
And not long after, the new year dawned.
A journey? Are you really planning on leaving us?
There's more I have to see. With my own eyes.
You want to know what's going on in the world, huh? Well, I guess you are the king.
Sounds like fun, but a daily jaunt down to the slums is one thing, and a proper journey is quite another. You're a king now, lad. You've got the people's expectations on your shoulders. It's all right to just sit on your throne and mind the home front, you know?
I want to do what I can for the people. If that's not kingly, then the crown's just slowing me down.
Come on, this is no time for jokes.
Ever the fearless gadabout, eh? Well, I take your point, lad. Magla and the humans make a fine barometer for the anxiety still swirling in the country. So you go out and give it a proper survey, where it is and how much is there. If people can't face their anxieties, they can't keep their eyes forward. And if they can't do that, we'll have a bally hard time moving forward as a nation or a people. So you want to get a better grasp of it all. That's your most important duty as a ruler. That's what you're thinking, eh?
Right.
If that was your plan, you could have just said so.
Sounds like a fine idea to me. A proper spot of fun, besides. Wouldn't expect any less from our king and captain. Well, since I'm the ballet court engineer, I've no choice but to come along. I'm the only driver fit to maneuver the Royal Skyrunner after all. And why, you're the Dragon Slayer King, bane of monsters all across the country. When I imagine what sort of wondrous encounters you've got next, well, I'm all agog. Yes, here begins our quest anew. Let us sally forth upon our... hello? Are you not listening to me?
Sire, you've really got to stop chasing these ideas all on your own. You'll be the death of us.
Once again, sire, I've asked you countless times to give word if you're to leave the castle. Such caprice.
Nurse, don't tell me you called for them beforehand.
Saved us a bit of time, eh? Though, hello, what's this? I count only 2 of the 6 partisans. Short a few spears.
For my part, I believe 'tis unrealistic for all of us to depart the capital together.
Oh, so you've no plans to stop our little adventure, eh?
Hulkenberg and I talked it over. We decided that if you insist on going, we'd rather go with you than stop you.
Are you sure about this?
I was thinking back to our last fight with Luis. So many people supported us, but not for any high-minded ideals or arguments.
They were supporting us because we were actively fighting a monster on their behalf. In the end, people make choices based on their personal experience and emotion. Even if decided justly and supported by prosperity, the people may struggle to trust a king whose face they do not know. An invisible ruler is no cure for their fears.
Right. I'm not opposed to the idea of getting out into the world again. Really, it might be the wisest move to make sure you're a king everyone knows.
Still, this early into the new year? 'Tis never a dull moment in your Majesty's employ.
Bit of a smaller party than we last set out with, huh? But it's a pleasure to be on the road again with you.
Okay, but can we really afford to have both our general and the Royal Guard's captain coming along for this?
'Tis natural course for the Royal Guard to accompany the king. And I trust my corps is not so feeble that it will fall apart in my absence.
We'll make it work. Got to learn to trust others and delegate, right? We'll just have to lead by example.
Right then, let's go.
You once heard my voice and answered a query in kind. Is fantasy a powerless creation? That timeless question. So long as life remains in the world, we seekers all shall search for our answer. But he will find his. Of that I am certain. And it is thanks to you for believing in and guiding him. That was the true purpose of my royal magic, you know. To seek and obtain guidance from denizens of a land beyond ours. A land that has not yet lost hope. And it was you who answered the call. Armed with your hope, armed with the power of fantasy, you rose in glory. Such courage, such whimsy, and yes, what thrills. You have my sincerest thanks.
Feels familiar. It's been far too long.
Aye, the wind feels an echo of days past.
Unusually poetic for you.
They're awful, aren't they? They would have left us behind. Oh.
Well, I'm not certain we're in a position to talk, having followed straight after, saying we could just teleport back.
Well, hey, We figured the kids might want to change your scenery, like.
Wow! Amazing!
Poetic indeed. That the scepter's absence restored order to Magla, and even greenery to the sands.
I'll say, I definitely like this view better.
Let's go.
Wow. What a treat. Oh, wow. You know, I didn't think I would be playing 2 Atlas games back to back, but here we are. Finally over. Although, probably by the time this posts, it'll most likely be March or February. Oh, wow. It's currently January right now. It's currently 1:27 in the morning on January 15th. What a great game. What a really great game. I think this game inspires me. The same way that it did with the same way that Persona 3 inspires me too. I'm happy I played both, honestly. Because there were moments throughout playing these games that I kind of felt down, honestly. I felt sad at the state of the world, you know. There were issues that I was dealing with personally too. Not super intricately personally, like I'm talking like some family issues at times, right? But we keep pressing forward because we have to. And this game teaches a lot, you know, that dreams aren't just fantasy. It's those dreams that help us aspire to be better selves. It's pushing ourselves to learn things, to adapt to things, to be better. And whether it's for your own sake, for your family's sake, or for your community's sake, we all aspire to be better in some way or not, you know. I appreciate what this game shows us. And despite how last year ended, I'm not gonna shirk. I'm not gonna wither in defeat. I want to live a good life. I want to have fun. I want to spread joy. And I want to live. I want to seek journeys that inspire me, just like this game did. So happy I played this. I loved all the characters so much. Honestly, gonna be real, there was not a bad character in this game. I wholeheartedly believe that. There's not a single bad character in this game. And I can tell how much the dev team loves Final Fantasy. I really love the combat. I love the job system, you know, or like the archetypes. And I love me my good Persona too, so this was definitely a treat for me, honestly. Both Persona 3 and Metaphor ReFantazio are easily my favorite games of 2024. Damn. I can't believe it's finally over. And this is, by and large, my longest playthrough on the channel. And this is, what, only my third playthrough? But it's finished, finally. And yes, Melancholy Star is my favorite soundtrack in the entire game. Love it, love it, love it to death. And it fit the final area so perfectly. Honestly, I can't wait. Because they said the director for this game has said that he would love to make this into a franchise. Not immediately, but he would love to see a new game for this. And probably it will go down the route of like Final Fantasy to some degree, right? But I don't know. Someday it will happen. And when it does, you know your ass. You can bet that I will immediately play that game. I am 100% on board with whatever this company makes with regards to RPGs. Maybe Persona 6 is next. Who knows? But yeah. Also, I would like to really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you who watch. I appreciate the people who do watch, no matter what. I'm happy that people watch, even if it's little. I don't care. I'm forever grateful that you show interest in watching me, even though it's just casual commentary, playing a video game. But I love RPGs. I love JRPGs. And yeah, maybe someday I will deviate a bit as a bit of a break, but I think I got something. I think I got a good system going here. Am I going to be playing a long game next? Probably not. Probably going to play something a bit shorter. There is specifically one game, though, that one of my friends has been specifically asking that I play. So soon-ish, depending on when this goes up, maybe like a week or two after. You'll see what I'll be having in store. I guess the hint for this is that the not so secret hint is we're gonna be playing with time a little bit. So take that as you will. But that's just all there is to it. So, on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, have a good one, everyone. And as always, stay safe. And I'll see you next time.
Dear guest, from a world I shall never know. In your eyes, I know our journey was ultimately a fiction. However, I hope your memories of this fantastical adventure burn as bright in your reality. I hope the promise of our world echoes in you. With all my heart, I hope that fantasy gives you strength.
Look at that. The rubble's just bait for tourists now.
I never expected a view like this.
Let's see it all. Let's see the world.
Yeah.
A new journey now beckons. In days of eld, the people prospered and perished in turn. Struck by their ways, I wrote a book of my dearest ideals. A tale of fantasy. In my vision, they placed their trust, and so the kingdom breathed new life.
The strength to believe in the unknown, that can change everything. Without a doubt, you will face all sorts of trials ahead. But carry onward with all your heart. Onward, fearless, into a world unknown.